And perhaps the most important lesson the president, I think, failed to learn was you have to tell the American people the truth. And when he told the American people that you could keep your health insurance if you wanted to keep that plan, period. He said that time and again.
Right.
He wasn't telling the truth.
But
and
Governor,
I think that fundamental dishonesty has really put in peril the whole foundation of his second term.
Ooh, welcome back. Hour number 2, Steve Malzberg Show, Monday edition. Glad you're aboard. David Gregory didn't like that. Fundamental dishonesty? You're talking about my Barack Obama? David Gregory's thinking? It was Meet the Press. It was yesterday. And then Mitt Romney. This is a longer cut, but here's Mitt Romney going on and on. Because don't forget, the president went to Massachusetts, went to Boston on, what was it, Thursday? And he drew comparisons and said this is just like Romney Care was, and there's bound to be mistakes and bound to be problems and blah blah blah. But it's all based on a lie. The man is a liar, and here's Mitt Romney talking about that. Cut 2. That wouldn't be cut 2.
On that point, we are talking about a small piece of the individual market, about 5%. And in your law in Massachusetts, there were also minimum requirements for health plans in order to qualify for health insurance in Massachusetts. And the reason for that is so that you had basic plans that didn't allow presumably young and healthier people not to be adequately covered, because if they ended up getting presumably young and healthier people not to be adequately covered, because if they ended up getting...
We could talk about the technical differences between the Massachusetts plan and the federal plan, but the key, I think, that has really undermined the president's credibility in the hearts of the American people is that he went out as a centerpiece of his campaign and as a centerpiece of Obamacare over the last several years, plan, and he knew that was not the case. He could know it by looking at Massachusetts and seeing people there lost insurance. He could have learned those lessons and told the people the truth, but he didn't. He told people they could keep their plan, and you know, it was NBC News that said, look, some 6 million people are going to lose their insurance. That's not some little number. That's 6 million American people.
All right, and it's more than 6 million American people. Projections are, and the White House knew this, it's going to be 100 million people. In fact, there will be no private insurance companies in a few years. I know that, I feel that, and I know that that's the case. That's the plan. That's what it's designed to do. Ezekiel Emanuel on Fox News Sunday yesterday alluded to the fact that the insurance companies can't survive. That's what they're hoping for. Now, let me just say this. You know, David Gregory with this parroting this explanation of the lie that, well, I only lied about 5% of the people. That's not true, number one, because it's going to be a lot of people. And even if it were 5%, that's millions and millions of people. And this other nonsense that Andy McCarthy and you and me, if you're a male, have to have maternity coverage in our plans, and you have to have mental health in your plan, and you have to have drug therapy in your plan. I don't mean drug therapy. I mean drug addiction therapy in your plan. And the government knows best what's for your plan, because if you need it and you don't have it, then we all have to pay for you. Well, now we're all paying for everybody, don't you see? Now they're making you pay directly by putting all of these things in your plan and requiring all of these things in any plan you have. They're making you pay for other people's childbirth coverage, mental health coverage, drug addiction coverage, stuff you'll never use, you'll never need, you wouldn't buy. They're making you buy it. So when they say, well, if you didn't do that, then we would all pay for somebody when they went to the doctor and weren't covered for something they had. Well, now I'm paying for everyone else anyway. It's the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is sick. And let me just remind you of this. When Barack Obama tells people they could get a health care plan for $50 a month, whatever it is, everybody I've heard from, everybody I've seen, everybody I've read about, their premiums are going up, not down. But let's say, whatever it is, and let's say you're entitled to a subsidy. Let's say you get your whole plan paid for by the great Dr. Obama, which means I'm paying for your plan, and everyone in America is paying for your plan, but let's say you get it paid for. How are you going to afford to pay the doctor? How are you going to afford to pay the doctor $2,000, $3,000, $6,000, $12,000, which is what your deductible can be? Ain't no subsidies for your deductible as far as I know. The deductible is for the premium. What's a deductible? Your insurance coverage, you're covered after you're out of pocket, after you pay whatever your deductible is. If your deductible is $1,000 car insurance, you get into an accident. The damage is $5,000. You have a $1,000 deductible. That means you pay the first $1,000 and they'll pay the next $4,000. Healthcare. You got a $5,000 deductible? Maybe they're paying for your insurance. Insurance costs you nothing, baby. I'm on Obamacare. Woohoo! Dr. Obama gave it to me with my Obama phone. Woohoo! You go to the doctor. God forbid you need surgery. God forbid you're sick. You got anything. And your deductible is $5,000. You've got to pay the $5,000 before the insurance kicks in. Did you know about deductibles? Did you ever hear Barack Obama say the word deductible? You're going to learn that word very quickly. Very quickly. It's insane. It's totally, totally insane. It's a lie. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a sham. It's as phony as a $3 bill. What did Jackie Mason call him? Jackie Mason, the comedian, says Barack Obama is a lying maniac. Well, as only Jackie Mason could say it. Here's what he says. Never did I expect a guy like this, the head of a country, to blatantly lie to your face. And then not only lie to your face, then he lied about the fact that he never lied. And the lie again, then lie again about the next lie. He knew he had told the truth because he's the president of a country. Now he's the only guy in America who wouldn't have the nerve to lie this much. You say to yourself, wait a second. Who am I listening to? Was this guy actually elected to the presidency? A man who is completely out of his mind? Who's out of touch with his own humanity? With America? Who doesn't seem to know what's going on here? Does he read a paper? A guy like this should be locked up. If he wasn't the president, he'd be in jail, in a sanitarium. He wouldn't be outside talking to people in this condition. He'd be considered a danger to his own health. My shoulders are going up, too. Jackie Mason? Who? Jackie Mason once said about me not famously in my own mind, when I was at WABC and I was filling in. He was filling in for Bob Grant, and I was coming up next, and he says, coming up next, Steve Malzberg. Who he is? I don't know. But he keeps showing up wherever he goes. Yeah, that's Jackie Mason for you. Anyway, this is sick. All right, I promised I would talk to you about Christie. By the way, coming up, we're going to talk to Phillip Klein, senior writer for the Washington Examiner, to talk all about why Obama lied about the Obamacare or Affordable Health Care Act, and how this uproar may pose a problem for free market reformers. You're not going to want to miss that. All right, so there's this new book out, and it talks about the fact why, among other things, why Romney did not pick Chris Christie, okay? It cites a memo from Romney's vetting team looking into Christie's background that included unanswered questions on a defamation lawsuit against the governor from earlier in his career, on a Securities and Exchange Commission settlement involving Christie's brother, on names and documentation of his household help, on information from his time as securities industry lobbyist, and his medical history. Also, they were ticked off as could be at Romney's disgusting speech at the Republican convention. Disgusting speech at the convention where he didn't mention Romney's name once. All he talked about was me, New Jersey, me. Chris Christie will never, ever, ever be the Republican nominee for president of the United States. He's a phony. He's a rhino. He only cares about himself, and he's out only for himself. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio. So don't go away. 877 Newsmax if you want to weigh in.
The Steve Malzberg.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES to learn about a special program that has been created just for you. In this solution kit, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found in this risk-free kit have not only normalized their blood sugar, but have stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing your diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and get information about 3 specific actions to take right now today that normalize your blood sugar and get it under control in 4 weeks or less. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and find out now, while this revolutionary information is still available risk-free. That's toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. 855-500-DIABETES.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
I used to sleep like a baby. Now I have to get up in the middle of the night just to go to the bathroom. And not just once.
Men, if you suffer from frequent urination, the inability to empty your bladder, a hesitant urine stream, or leaking due to an aging prostate, listen to this. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes this does not need to be an inevitable part of aging. After extensive research, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. For complete details, visit prostaterevive.com/offer. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Learn how you can try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/offer. Hurry, limited time offer. That's prostaterevive.com/offer.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
800-516-9794.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
It was a bad week. It looks like he told a lie. I think he kind of did. My question, I got 2 questions. What, is a lie justified if it's for something good? And if he hadn't told that lie, could Obamacare have been passed? If he had come out and said, yeah, you know, some of you are going to lose your plan and you're going to have to pay more. Do you think that law that squeaked through by that much would have passed?
All right, Bill Maher. Later on, we'll bring you the answer by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who said, oh, it wasn't a lie. Joining us right now to talk about all of this, why the president did lie and what problems that may pose for free market reformers is Phillip Klein, senior writer for the Washington Examiner. Hey, Phillip.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Good to talk to you. Okay, so, the president, as is well documented, I'm so sick of playing that soundbite over and over, all the sound bites, as a matter of fact, that the president said, if you like your insurance, you could keep it, period. And if you like your doctor, you could keep it, period. Neither of which are true for millions and millions of people. Why did he say it, and what are the ramifications of it not being true?
Well, the reason why I said it is pretty clear. Democrats have been trying to push some sort of national health care program for decades and decades. And one of the problems that they've routinely run into is the fact that most people are pretty happy with their personal health care situation. A poll taken around the time that Obama made his health care pitch to a joint session of Congress in September 2009 showed that 87% of people with private coverage were satisfied with their medical care. So the trick always was, well, whenever, how can you sort of convince these people that when you change the system to make it work better for all these other people, that it won't affect the people who are happy with the type of coverage they have. If you go back to the Clinton health care effort that failed, one of the things that reasons why it failed was people were worried how it would affect them personally. And so that's why Obama, decided to make this lie up, because he figured by saying it won't, affect you if you're happy with what you had, that those people would tune out, and that the people that were really excited about reform because it would help them would sort of put pressure on everyone to sort of pass the law. And that was sort of the hope, but it was doomed to fail because, no changes so dramatic to the healthcare system happen in a vacuum. And, inevitably it was going to cause people to lose their health care plans. I and a number of other people wrote it that this was inevitable at the time.
Well, and before we get to your point, which is a good point, that the Republicans face a danger if they try to imply that, under their plan or if they were running things, no one would ever be forced to lose their insurance, because that's not the case either. But if this progresses, isn't the plan here as Ezekiel Emanuel alluded to on Fox News Sunday, that the private insurance industry is done? I mean, it's almost doomed to failure, and that's by design, and it's going to be over soon.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the healthcare law already makes private insurance somewhat a misnomer, because it's ostensibly private in that private insurance companies are earning profits off of selling plans, but it's not free in the sense that insurers, that it's worked out by the free market. Instead, the government is designing these insurance plans. They're saying this is what every insurance has to cover.
Right. You got to have your drug treatment in your plan, and so do I, and our maternity coverage, and the whole thing is insane.
Yeah, and if you don't have kids, then you still have to purchase dental coverage for kids.
Yeah, and so when they, here's the fallacy to their argument then. When they say that if you don't do that, then if someone is uninsured or underinsured, quote unquote, and if they're allowed to pick their own policies and then they become sick with something they're not covered for, then we all pay for it. Well, guess what? You're mandating that we all pay for it now.
Yeah, I mean, this is always the myth, and you can go back, and something that Mitt Romney routinely lied about during the Republican primary process, because he was trying to justify his mandate in Massachusetts. And basically the idea is everyone ends up paying for it at the emergency room. But the reality is that the cost of subsidizing health care for everyone is a lot more expensive than the uncompensated costs of people showing up in an emergency room. The risk of a 27-year-old who's perfectly healthy having an emergency incident is pretty rare. So those health care costs represent maybe 1 to 2% of all health care costs in the country. Yeah. It's a drop in the bucket.
And now it's going to be a huge percentage of what we're all paying, even though we're never going to ever use it.
Yeah. So the idea that it's sort of, I mean, if you really wanted to take care of people, if you really wanted to take care of that narrow problem of people showing up in the emergency room, you could figure out a lot of other ways to do it. You could say, we're going to increase the fine for showing up and not paying it
Right.
is going to affect your credit. I mean, there are a lot of ways that you can do.
Just like we could have figured out a lot of ways to, if the real goal was to insure the uninsured, we could have figured out a much easier, better, and more non-intrusive, or should I say less intrusive way than the way they're doing it. We're talking to Phillip Klein, senior writer for the Washington Examiner, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you one question. We only have about a minute left, minute and a half. I'm correct when I say that if you're going to get subsidies, and people are the people who are all excited that they're not going to have to pay anything, or they'll pay $50 a month for a policy, whatever. That subsidy is only for premium, right? I mean, that doesn't cover their deductible, which could be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, up to $12,000.
Yeah, it only covers the.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole thing is a sham. Wait till they find out how much they're going to have to pay out of pocket if they ever need medical treatment.
Yeah, and I think the bigger thing that's coming up, and everyone's talking about rate shock of people seeing how much the plans cost. But I think the bigger problem is going to be what I call access shock, which is going to happen once they realize that their doctors and their hospitals aren't covered in their plan.
Absolutely. We just saw a report today about the major, the list of the top hospitals in the country are going to cover very, very little of the Obamacare insurances that are offered. So it is a mess. It is a train wreck, as was famously said. Phillip, thank you very much, sir. Good to talk to you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Phillip Klein, senior writer for the Washington Examiner.